Miyamoto Musashi didn't choose isolation because he was weak. He chose it because belonging makes men soft. While others chased comfort, he sharpened himself in silence, and that is why he became unbreakable. Belonging is warm. Isolation is cold. Most men choose warmth. Musashi chose steel. In a world that begged him to kneel, he stood alone. In an age of clans, masters, and banners, he walked without one. Not because he was rejected, but because he refused weakness disguised as comfort. This is not a story for the soft. This is not wisdom for those who seek applause. This is for those who feel the fire inside them and are willing to burn alone to become unbreakable. Musashi did not chase people. He chased mastery. He did not fear solitude. He feared becoming dull. And today, in a weak modern world addicted to noise, pleasure, and validation, his path is more dangerous and more necessary than ever. Chapter 1. The Lie of Belonging. Belonging feels like safety, but safety is the enemy of greatness. From the moment you are born, the world trains you to fit in. Sit still, follow rules, seek approval, fear rejection. But the battlefield does not reward those who fit in. It rewards those who stand firm when everything collapses. Musashi understood this early. He saw that most men hide inside groups, not out of loyalty but fear. Fear of silence, fear of judgment, fear of facing themselves. Belonging dulls the blade. When too many voices surround you, your inner voice weakens. When comfort is shared, discipline dissolves. When identity depends on others, the self fractures. Musashi chose isolation not because he hated people, but because he loved truth more than acceptance. A sword left in its sheath never learns its weight. A warrior surrounded by comfort never learns his limits. Isolation is not loneliness. Isolation is training without witnesses. Solitude, the forge of the warrior steel, is not born strong. It is beaten, burned, struck again and again. Solitude is the fire. When Musashi walked alone, there was no praise, no applause, no reassurance, only hunger, cold nights, uncertainty. And in that silence, something terrifying happened. He began to see himself clearly. No masks, no excuses, no one to blame. This is why most men avoid solitude, because in silence weakness screams. Isolation forces confrontation, with fear, with laziness, with the quiet realization that no one is coming to save you. Musashi welcomed this, because a warrior who cannot stand alone will collapse when the battlefield turns against him. Discipline without witnesses. Anyone can look strong in public. Few can train in darkness. Musashi practiced when no one watched. He sharpened his mind when others slept. He refined technique while the world celebrated noise. This is real discipline, not motivation, not inspiration, but obedience to a code even when the body resists. Bushido demands this. Stoicism reinforces it. Control the mind, endure discomfort, accept suffering as instruction. Pain was not an enemy to Musashi, it was a teacher. Every lonely step hardened his resolve. Every silent morning sharpened his awareness. Modern men seek shortcuts. Musashi sought depth, the fear of death, and why it makes you free. Musashi lived with death beside him, not as a threat, but as a companion. When you accept death, fear loses power. When fear loses power, no man can control you. Isolation teaches this lesson brutally. When you walk alone, you understand impermanence. Friendships fade, crowds disappear, only the self remains. This awareness creates calm, a calm so deep it terrifies weaker men. Musashi did not rush life. He did not cling to comfort, because a man who accepts death cannot be manipulated by pleasure. Honor above comfort. Honor is heavy. Comfort is light. Most men choose lightness. Musashi carried weight. He refused easy paths, refused attachment, refused softness. Honor demanded mastery, and mastery demanded sacrifice. Belonging would have weakened his edge. Isolation kept it sharp. A blade that never leaves battle rusts. A man who never stands alone decays inside. The shadow path. Isolation places you in shadow, and in shadow vision improves. Musashi learned to see intentions before movement, to read silence louder than words, to strike not with anger, but precision. This is the gift of solitude. You become dangerous, not loudly, but inevitably. End of chapter 1. Musashi did not abandon society. He transcended it. He chose isolation to become whole. He chose solitude to master himself before attempting to master the world. And this is only the beginning. Chapter 2. Pain iced the path, and weakness iced the lie. Pain is not punishment. Pain is instruction. The modern world teaches you to avoid it, escape it, numb it, hide from it. Musashi did the opposite. He walked directly into pain, not recklessly but deliberately. Because he understood a truth most men never learn: what you avoid will control you. What you endure will obey you. The first cut. Every warrior remembers his first cut. Not the wound on the body, but the wound to the ego. The moment you realize you are not special, not gifted, not protected, only exposed. Musashi was orphaned early by war. Violence did not ask for his consent. It arrived anyway, and instead of breaking, he adapted. Pain stripped illusion from him. It removed softness. It forced clarity. Steel does not apologize when it cuts, neither does life. Musashi accepted this, and acceptance gave him power. Why pain builds what comfort destroys. Comfort makes men fragile. It dulls instinct. It weakens reflex. It erodes hunger. Pain sharpens. When your body aches, your mind wakes. When comfort is gone, discipline must appear, or you fail. Musashi trained in cold, hungry, alone, not to suffer for suffering's sake, but to become familiar with hardship, because on the battlefield, pain does not ask permission, and a man unfamiliar with pain panics. The difference between suffering and training. Weak men complain about suffering. Strong men convert it. Musashi did not romanticize pain. He studied it. Every ache became data. Every failure became refinement. Every loss became instruction. This is Stoic suffering, not emotional collapse, but controlled exposure. He hardened himself the way iron hardens in fire, by repeated stress, followed by calm. Pain, then silence. Struggle, then reflection. This rhythm forged his will. The battlefield within the greatest enemy Musashi ever faced was not another swordsman. It was hesitation, fear, the urge to quit. This battle happens in isolation. When no one is watching, the mind negotiates weakness. Rest today. Enough is enough. You deserve comfort. Musashi rejected these voices, not with emotion, but with obedience. Train anyway. Stand anyway. Endure anyway. This is how will is built. The steel of self-control. Anger makes you reckless. Fear makes you slow. Desire makes you blind. Pain teaches control. When you suffer and do not react, you gain authority over yourself. Musashi learned to breathe through pain, to observe discomfort without obeying it, to act precisely while the body screamed. This is mastery. A sword controlled by emotion misses. A mind controlled by emotion collapses. Calm is deadlier than rage. The weak world and YIT fears pain. Look around. This world avoids discomfort like poison, screens, pleasure, endless distraction. Pain threatens illusion, because pain forces truth. It exposes discipline, or lack of it, character, or emptiness. This is why the modern man fears silence, fears cold mornings, fears hard training. Musashi would see this world and understand immediately it is full of targets. Endurance over talent. Talent fades. Endurance compounds. Musashi did not rely on gifts. He relied on tolerance for suffering. When others stopped, he continued. When others complained, he observed. When others broke, he adapted. Pain filtered out the weak. Those who remained became weapons. Walking with death. Pain is a rehearsal for death. When you endure suffering calmly, death loses its terror. Musashi lived as if already dead, not reckless but free. A man who has accepted pain does not beg life for mercy. He commands himself. The unbreakable core, this is the secret. Pain builds a center that cannot be shaken. Insults lose power. Failure loses sting. Loss becomes fuel. When you have suffered voluntarily in silence without applause, nothing external can dominate you. This is what Musashi built, an inner fortress. Chapter 3. The inner battlefield. Every war is decided before the first strike. Not on the field, not by numbers, but in the mind. Miyamoto Musashi understood this with terrifying clarity. Swords clash only after decisions are already made within. The true battlefield is silent, invisible, relentless, and most men lose there long before they ever raise a blade. The enemy you cannot escape. You can walk away from enemies. You cannot walk away from yourself. Your thoughts follow you into every room. Your doubts sit beside you in silence. Your fears whisper when the night is still. Musashi did not run from this. He invited it. Isolation was not an escape from people. It was a confrontation with the self. In solitude, the mind reveals its weaknesses: impatience, pride, fear of insignificance. To face these without flinching is the beginning of mastery. Stillness is a weapon. The untrained mind reacts. The trained mind waits. Musashi cultivated stillness like a blade sharpened in darkness. He learned to sit with chaos without moving, to hear insult without responding, to feel fear without obeying it. Stillness is not passivity, it is controlled readiness. A calm lake reflects the sky. A disturbed one reveals nothing. In battle, clarity kills. The death of ego makes noise. Mastery is silent. Musashi abandoned ego early, not by humiliation, but by truth. He understood that ego demands comfort. It demands recognition. It demands to be seen. But the warrior who seeks validation becomes predictable. Musashi sought effectiveness. When you kill ego, you stop defending weakness. You stop explaining failure. You stop needing permission. You act. Emotion is a poor commander. Anger blinds. Fear paralyzes. Desire distracts. Musashi trained to observe emotion without becoming it. This is Stoic discipline. He did not suppress emotion. He refused to be ruled by it. Like clouds passing over a mountain, feelings moved through him. But the mountain remained. This is why his strikes were precise. This is why his presence was unsettling. He was not fighting opponents. He was executing decisions. Timing, the soul of combat. Strength without timing is wasted. Speed without awareness is reckless. Musashi mastered timing by mastering attention. He learned to read breath, posture, silence between movements. This awareness begins in the mind. A distracted warrior dies early. A focused one controls space. Modern men scatter attention across screens. Musashi condensed it into a blade. One mind, one moment, one action. The mind under pressure reveals truth. In chaos, training disappears. Only habit remains. Musashi trained his mind to remain clear under threat. Cold exposure, fatigue, isolation, not for toughness, but for reliability. A mind that panics betrays the body. A calm mind commands it. This is why Musashi could fight multiple opponents. Not because he was faster, but because he was calmer. Silence as dominance. Silence unsettles the weak. Men speak to fill emptiness. Musashi remained quiet to create presence. He entered rooms without announcement. He waited without impatience. He observed without revealing intent. Silence removes information from enemies. It forces them to reveal themselves. This is psychological warfare. Those who talk lose advantage. Death as a mental ally. Fear of death enslaves. Acceptance of death liberates. Musashi rehearsed death daily. Not morbidly, but strategically. By accepting impermanence, he removed hesitation. When nothing is clung to, everything becomes possible. This mindset creates decisive action. The man who has already died in his mind cannot be threatened. The shadow mindset. Musashi learned to operate in shadow, not seeking attention, not announcing intent, not explaining purpose. Shadow is freedom. Those who remain unseen move without resistance. In the modern world of exhibition and noise, the silent man becomes invisible and dangerous. End of chapter 3. The mind is either a weapon or a liability. Musashi chose mastery. While others fought externally, he conquered himself. And when the inner battlefield was won, no outer battle could defeat him. Chapter 4. Becoming unbreakable in a weak modern world. The world has changed. Human nature has not. Weapons evolved. Battles moved indoors. War became invisible. But weakness still smells the same. Miyamoto Musashi would recognize this age instantly, not by its technology, but by its softness. Comfort everywhere, discipline nowhere. And in such a world, the man who chooses hardness becomes unstoppable. The modern battlefield today, the battlefield is not mud and blood, it is distraction, pleasure, endless noise. Your enemy does not charge you, it seduces you. Screens steal attention, comfort steals urgency, approval steals identity. Musashi would not fight this world loudly, he would starve it of influence. By withdrawing. Voluntary hardship. Weak men are shaped by circumstance. Strong men choose their suffering. Musashi lived by this principle. Cold mornings, sparse food, relentless training. Not because life demanded it, but because he demanded it of himself. Voluntary hardship creates authority. When you choose discomfort, no one can use it against you. Rejecting comfort without apology. Comfort makes demands. It asks you to slow down, to settle, to conform. Musashi refused negotiation. He did not explain his path. He did not justify isolation. He did not seek understanding. Explanation weakens resolve. A man certain of his path does not ask permission to walk it. Becoming a ghost power today hides in plain sight. Musashi did not announce strength, he embodied it. In a world addicted to exposure, invisibility becomes an advantage. No unnecessary speech, no public struggle, no emotional display. Train in silence, move without announcement, strike only when necessary. The ghost is untouchable. The final severing. To become unbreakable, you must sever attachment to outcomes, to praise, to identity given by others. Musashi belonged to no clan, so no clan could control him. Freedom demands isolation. Not permanent withdrawal, but inner independence. Death as the great equalizer. Musashi wrote near the end of his life as a man already beyond fear. When death is accepted, manipulation fails. Fear loses leverage, desire loses urgency. You act with precision, you move without hesitation. This is final clarity. Living as a blade has no excess, it exists for purpose. Musashi lived this way. Every action deliberate, every word measured, every movement necessary. Excess emotion dulls the edge, excess comfort corrodes it. Simplicity sharpens. The legacy of isolation. Isolation did not make Musashi lonely. It made him complete. He mastered himself before attempting to master the world. And this is his message to you. If you want strength, stand alone. If you want clarity, choose silence. If you want freedom, reject comfort. Final words. The path remains. This path is narrow, unpopular, demanding. Most will turn back. Let them. Steel is not forged in crowds. Fire does not ask permission to burn. And warriors are not created in comfort. Musashi walked alone, so that no man could ever break him. Now the question remains, will you?